In this webisode, guys, as we talked about in yesterday's video, this hidden bullish divergence 100% came out to play. We talked about it as Bitcoin was trading about $11,600 and currently Bitcoin is above 12,000. We're going to show you proof about this target and as well two other targets we talked about in yesterday's webisode and what is yet to come, guys, because now we have a very nice prediction for even the first week of this new month and some very big things coming for Bitcoin. And specifically, I have a price projection for Bitcoin as well towards the middle of the month and a target I want to look at. After initially finding resistance right at 11,900 US dollars, Bitcoin ended up finding support slightly below that and continued bouncing. But really now, what is the next move for Bitcoin? This is crazier than my wildest wet dream, guys. And now with this fractal playing out, as we talked about in yesterday's video, it's been insanely accurate. However, we expect Bitcoin's price to diverge from this fractal and actually go explosive much sooner than this end of September prediction model is actually showing. Huawei and Bitcoin actually as well. We got our monthly close, guys. Very bullish. It does not look insanely strong, but this is actually exactly what we want to see on these longer time frames at this very key Fibonacci retracement level and overall just very key important market structure level for Bitcoin to continue to head higher. And guys, this one wasn't as hard to predict, but we talked about this in yesterday's video, which was Ethereum absolutely exploding. And so far, it is actually doing really well. We talked about Ethereum specifically for a few minutes in yesterday's video about how undervalued it is. And currently at under $500, it is still extremely undervalued in my opinion. So we're going to be talking about that. And as well, Bitcoin absolutely on target. Yet another confirmation with this monthly close. We're going to be talking about what we expect Bitcoin to do over the rest of this year. And specifically, there's a very interesting price projection coming up very shortly based on this model. And guys, Buffett exiting USD is actually a very interesting indicator for Bitcoin in the near term, says Max Kaiser. So we're going to be talking about that as well. Welcome back to the channel, women, men, babies, children, smaller children, babies, and other babies that haven't been born yet. Guys, we have a lot to delve into in today's webisode, specifically with Bitcoin's price action, because as you guys know, if you've been watching the channel daily, for the past this will be the third episode now, but for the past two episodes before this one, we had flipped bullish in the short term to match our mid and long-term bullish. And so far, we've been extremely fortunate with that, guys, because Bitcoin is 100% exactly played to that target. But now it's on to new horizons, right? Currently, as I'm recording this, we're above 12K, but we cannot let our horses run too fast just yet, because there's some stuff we have to look at on these charts. But specifically, I want to look at something. I mean, if you guys remember a few weeks ago, that projection. I forget who it was, but they said by like September 7th, we're going to see some very nice price action for Bitcoin. And I want to show you on these charts why that is actually lining up to be extremely ooey gooey. Wow, very big, very huge, guys. So as well, if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications so you get updated when we upload new videos. And as well, make sure to leave your comment to enter for these ledgers. Today, leave a comment on when you first heard about cryptocurrency, when you first heard about Bitcoin, and when you first got invested and how your experience has been so far. Guys, huge. So we can actually start off with Ethereum because that is something we talked about yesterday. And as well, we're going to be talking about some altcoins, but specifically Ethereum looks as though it might actually be able to blast off very soon, guys. We've already surpassed the highs of the last 2 years for Ethereum, right? So we're basically at highs that we haven't seen for the last 2 years, which we have been ever since the beginning of August. But now it looks like we're shaping up to break to a much higher price target, and we'll show you exactly what price target that would be on Ethereum's chart. Absolutely blasting off to, almost $500. Okay, this is absolutely very big. Ethereum is obviously undervalued. The reason we thought this was going to be a breakout is because we came back down to retest these prior highs from back in the summer of 2019. We found the support. We actually cemented that support for pretty much, I think it was the entire month of August, basically, yeah. And also we found support on the 21-day moving average. Ethereum is just looking so bullish. We also broke this previous support. We flipped this as it was prior resistance. We flipped it and made it support yet again as well. This was resistance back in the bull run of 2017, back in the summer of 2017. So this area right here, holding like the $360, $370 level for Ethereum was huge. And guys, fundamentally, Ethereum is, the fundamentals for Ethereum are absolutely insane. The TA just lined up with it recently, but the fundamentals have been absolutely insane. I still think Ethereum is extremely undervalued, and Ethereum's popping off very nicely. So good call on that. Very nice to see that. But guys, more importantly, the primary focus of yesterday's video was this short-term prediction for Bitcoin, where we had this bullish, it was hidden bullish divergence here, where we were setting higher lows right here on the price and we were setting lower lows here on the RSI, which is hidden bullish divergence. And as you guys can see, we even mentioned that we'll probably come back down to this 200 moving average on the hourly chart for support. Ranging in this area, I think, is most key for right now. Maybe coming back down here to find support here before coming up and seeing similar pumps like we've gotten multiple times in the entire month of August, okay, on these short-term time frames, and then blast off. And that is exactly what we did, though. We actually came immediately right down to this area right here. We literally just touched on this, and then we blasted off. So, I mean, that's probably my most accurate short-term price projection, as I'm starting to get into these very short time frames just because we're making videos every day. I think I have a pretty good understanding of like daily, weekly charts, but looking on these hourly charts is what I'm delving into more on the channel, and that was absolutely very nice to see. But guys, now we're coming into a very key area. I'm not seeing any very interesting divergences here on the smaller time frames, on the 1 or the 4 hour, but specifically what we saw yesterday was very nice as well. We came back down, and as we talked about, these lines were super important. Let's actually just zoom out. You can see we held within this area. However, if you guys remember later yesterday, we actually did dip all the way down to 11.5. 11,522 on the Coinbase chart, but we had the 4-hour candle closes within this pattern here. We ended up breaking this very key level that we talked about, which is very important. And when we did, after holding support there in the previous hourly candle, or in the previous 4-hour candle, we got a very nice pump. We went all the way up to exactly 11.9, which is exactly what we talked about in yesterday's video. As long as we're above this short term, this is very important to watch. We could be seeing a move up to 11,009. And wow, we're above 12,000 US dollars per Bitcoin, which is absolutely huge as well. So again, I personally think I'm going to get into more of my predictions for this month, specifically the first and second week of this month, because I have two different projections, what I think would make the most sense here. But before we do that, guys, I want to get into a few of these articles. So this one is very important. Bitcoin targeting $288,000 per Bitcoin, stock to flow price like clockwork, according to Plan B. Now remember, in previous stock to flow iterations, Bitcoin's price actually went much higher than what the stock to flow was actually predicting, right? It actually went a lot higher. Okay, so that's really important to note that it can overshoot that. And he's saying this could actually go as much as double of what his prediction is. So, over $500,000 per Bitcoin within this time frame. So in a tweet today, Plan B, creator of the stock to flow family of Bitcoin price models, said Bitcoin USD has performed exactly as expected in August. Bitcoin is now put in its fourth so-called red dot because of these monthly closes on the S2F chart since May. According to performance after the previous two halvings, that leaves just 2 months, that just leaves months before a major price surge ensues. According to the S2FX, the current halving cycle, which like the others lasts 4 years, should produce a Bitcoin price focal point of about $300,000, but he said it could more than double that. And I'm sure you guys are pretty familiar with the Bitcoin stock to flow model here. As you can see, guys, we're getting very, very close to this where we're expecting a very nice pump. Okay, it's been accurate the previous 2 cycles. We've actually seen curves up prior to reaching this, but as you can see now, this one looks a little bit more delayed than the previous ones, which again, we talked about 2 days ago with it being a more delayed, a longer cycle for Bitcoin, but also a more powerful cycle, most likely. And with that being said, we have Max Kaiser. Warren Buffett is out of USD, right? The US dollar is getting so weak that even Warren Buffett is getting out, and Bitcoin will see all-time highs, says Max Kaiser. Buffett's move into Japan along with his gold investment confirms he's getting out of USD very bigly. The announcement came days after the Federal Reserve confirmed it would let inflation rise above 2% target as a temporary measure, something that weighed heavily on the dollar, guys. Obviously, I'm not a big fan of the US dollar. I don't think it's doing well. It's been depreciating for the last, at least 100 years. It's an absolute garbage asset, or whatever you want to call it. It's complete garbage. Obviously, I like cryptocurrency better than paper cash, right? USD is doing nothing for the people. It's not helping any of us out. And again, that's partially one of the reasons, probably the biggest reason we're involved in cryptocurrency, I assume everyone is. Guys, huge. So we have this monthly candle close. Very nice. We still set highs here. You can see a green monthly candle, which is awesome because, again, this is the last area of resistance that really matters for Bitcoin, the biggest area of resistance and friction. So again, very nice to see that on these longer term time frames. What that signals to me is continuation, right? This looks good. This is exactly what we'd want and we'd hope for. Now, guys, if we switch back to this is our fractal that we were talking about for the past few days. It was mimicking it exactly, but I said I think we were going to diverge from this. And because what this basically is showing is that Bitcoin is going to trade between 11,006 and 11,100 for the next 3 weeks. And I said I don't think that's likely. I think we're going to get a break either very strongly to the upside or very strongly to the downside much sooner than this predicts, right? So we're already diverging pretty greatly from this now. As you can see, this was pretty much following completely. However, now we're actually diverging a fair amount. We're at about 12,050 on this chart. And another thing I really want to highlight here is that I think we're going to get a breakout within the first week of September, actually. Okay, so we have this descending volume that we talked about a lot in yesterday's video. This is the third one we've seen since the March crash, and it just looks very much like we are, again, going to see a massive return to volatility and volume. We had a very prolonged, I think it was like 3-month period where we had very little volatility. It was extremely boring between pretty much the beginning of May to the end of July. It was pretty boring, that entire period. Price was historically very non-volatile. I think it was between like 8.8K and 9.9 for majority of those 3 months, okay? So extremely boring. Now I think we're going to get a very big return to volatility with it starting now. And specifically, I think September is going to kick this off. August, to be honest, was not super exciting in terms of volatility, but it actually did exactly what Bitcoin needed to do at this very key area. So absolutely massive for this. I think Ethereum is going to be exploding over this next month with altcoins continuing. I think it's going to be a great month for altcoins as well. But specifically, I think Bitcoin's going to have a big break the first week of this new month, September. And I think Bitcoin could actually be retesting 13K within the first week of September as well. So that's kind of a bold prediction there, but I definitely think that's where Bitcoin is heading. I don't think we're just going to trade sideways for the next 3 weeks as this model shows. I mean, we've already kind of broken this model. Absolutely massive, guys. So if you're interested in joining, this is the second to last day to get into T4 with 15% off with the code millions at checkout. All you have to do is put in that code and you get 15% off if you want to learn charting, trading, following along with my portfolio and as well my Telegram. I am going to be updating some of the initial trading videos that we have on there because those are now actually the oldest videos that we have on T4, meaning those are the ones we haven't updated yet. A lot of the courses we did update over the last few months, but the trading ones, not the trading ones, the TA ones are the ones that need updated. The trading ones are up to date, but the TA ones need a little bit of revision and need to be updated in the course. So that's what's coming next with that. And as well, we do offer my portfolio, and we've been sending out updates. We're going to increase the updates also on Telegram. But absolutely huge, guys. What a great way to start the month. It doesn't seem huge, I think, for maybe some people looking at these charts, but what we're doing and what we're setting up for on these macro timeframes is extremely bullish. Exactly what we want to be watching for, basically, exactly what we want to see happening. Remember, guys, the goo always rises to the top.